Okay, and good morning and welcome to Clemson. Okay, and I have to tell you that this is a very, very special time. Okay, usually we have this kind of workshop in the classroom, in the language lab, so I can show you what the language lab or what the language department can do. Special situation, so we stay home, but we can still learn a lot, okay, even staying home. Okay, and I believe that most of your classes probably will be online for the first semester, and maybe after September 21st, some of you will go back to the classrooms to have in-person classes. Okay, this is very special, but the Clemson Tiger spirit is still here. We are still working very hard to learn as much as we can. Okay, so first of all, I would like to share the screen with you and tell me, are you familiar with Zoom, all the functions in Zoom? Okay, if not, it's okay. I'm going to guide you through because first of all, I'm going to have some interaction with you. Okay, first. Okay, now let me share the screen with you. Okay, so today we are going to talk about how to be successful in foreign language learning. Okay, and first of all, let me see, how can I, oops, sorry. Okay, so before we start, let's have a very quick survey. Okay, now, if you have learned the language in high school, okay, when I share, can you see on top there's a more, and you can find an annotate function. Okay, and then in annotate, okay, find the text to type. Okay, if you have taken a language in high school, please type the language name anywhere on the page. Okay, and if you have never taken any foreign language in high school, okay, or before, okay, choose the stem and put it on the stem. Is that clear to you? Let me try. Let me start. Okay. Okay, we have one Spanish. Okay, anything else? Okay, so for example, okay. Good. I can see French, Spanish, two people, two languages. Okay, another Spanish. Great. Okay, and so for example, if I'm going to say I haven't learned anything, I'm using my iPad to do this. Okay, so I'm going to choose this one. I am a no person. Okay, so just make a mark. Okay, very nice. Okay, and now, okay, now let's move on to the second question. Okay, let me erase. Okay. What language do you plan to learn at Clemson? Okay, just now I got 4 Spanish, 1 French. Oh, 3 Spanish, 1 French, right? So, what do you plan to learn at Clemson? Okay, can you type the language? Okay, Spanish, French, okay, American Sign Language. Great, we do have that. Okay, anything else? Spanish, great. Okay. Every time when I give out this kind of workshop, I would like to see something like Chinese or Japanese. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Is that you, Corey? Chinese. Okay, good. Okay, now let's move on. Okay, I'm so glad that we have a diverse choice of languages to learn. Okay, in this group. Okay, now Okay. Let me erase the, okay. Good. Now, I need you to turn on the microphone and share with me, okay, why do you want to learn a second language? Why do you think learning a second language is important? Okay. Let me stop sharing, okay? So I would like to hear from you, okay? I hear one or two from you. Is that okay? Anyone? What is the first reason that makes you learn a language in high school? Anyone? Say something. Okay. You know I know you are new here, but don't be afraid. Okay. Share with me. Okay.
Well, the
Bess?
reason I learned a second language was because I wanted a connection, like, to another country, and I think learning a second language comes with that. A lot of times Americans have a reputation of, like, not knowing about other parts of the world. And then as I learned my second language, those always were my favorite teachers. So that
Great. If you have the same motivation, you think you agree with her, can you show something through the icon, the reaction icon? Okay. The reaction icon. Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. Any other reasons? Okay. That's fine. Okay. Let me share the screen with you again so that we can talk about what are the most common reasons that people think learning a second language is beneficial to us. Okay. And you probably can easily find reasons why we should learn another language. But let me show you very quickly. There's a link here and it gives us a top 10 reasons to learn language. Okay. Why? First of all, to connect. Yes, Bess, you are right. Okay. You want to connect with other people in communication. A language is probably the best way to start the communication with the people of different languages. Okay. And next one is advance your career. Yes. Okay. When everything is equal, if you add the language into your skill set, okay, you are ahead of other people. Okay, so that's for sure. Okay, and this is a common trend that employers usually expect people to have a second language or even the third language, okay, with them. And then feed your brain. Okay, there are many cognitive benefits of learning a language. Okay, so it can help you to improve your memory, your problem-solving skills, and also critical thinking, enhance your concentration. There are a lot of benefits. I think that's because when you learn a different language, in fact, that you use the different parts of your brain to process that language, and combining the language you use every day. So you are exercising your brain a lot. So it kind of stimulates a lot of stimuli to your brain. Okay, and then deepen your connection to other culture. Yes, language is most direct connection to the culture. Okay, and if you can communicate with people, you begin to learn their tradition and religion, and also art history of that language. Okay, and that give you very rewarding experience, and you connect to other culture even deeper. Okay, and see the world. Yes, imagine that if you don't know Chinese and you go to China to travel, compared to the situation you know Chinese, and when you go to China you can communicate directly. Okay, and the world you see is probably very different from the world you see when you don't know the language. Okay, so it helps you to see the world. Okay, and go to the source. Okay, you know that you can, so for example, if you kind of go online to search the information, and if you want to find something about China or Chinese language, and if you know the language, okay, isn't that better for you go directly to the source that everything written given in Chinese. Is it not better? Okay, so that give you the benefit of the language. You go to the source directly, okay, and then become a polyglot, okay, and when you learn a new language, you develop a new brain networks, okay, and so that's why when you are ready, when you have another language, okay, you are actually more ready to learn the third language or more languages, okay. So it kind of make you become a multilingual potential person, okay, and then also boost your confidence, okay, and imagine how hard to know something completely different, okay. So learning a language means putting yourself out there and moving out to your comfort zone, okay, and that builds your confidence too and strengthen your decision making, okay. And it's very interesting, okay. Study shows that decisions made in your second languages are more reason driven than those made in your native language, and that's very interesting, okay. And that's because when you make the decision in the second language, you actually distance yourself, okay, from the emotional response and bias, okay, associated with your mother tongue. So so if you learn more language and make the decision in another language, okay, you get the systematic and clear-headed decision, okay, based on that. Okay, and the last one, gain perspective. Yes, when you learn about another culture, okay, it also sheds light on aspects of your own culture, okay, make you reflect, okay, in your own culture too, okay. Now, let's do a very quick survey, okay. Again, put a stamp or something, okay, or yes or no. Tell me, languages are different in their level of difficulty. Some are easier and some are harder to learn. What do you think? Yes or no? Let me see if I need to, I have to stop sharing, okay. Okay, how about this? Give me a yes or no on the participants, okay. Good, I see some reaction. Okay, what do you think? Okay, well, let me share screen again. Okay, in fact, our languages are equal in their complexity. Okay, let's go back. Language. That's because sometimes you think that, oh, Spanish is probably easier, so it's easier for me to learn. Okay, and some languages are so hard, so maybe intrinsically these languages are harder, like Chinese, Russian, they are harder. But in fact, no, they are equal. Okay, in their complexity, and we will talk about this in a minute. Okay. Now, the second true or false question is languages are very different. Learning one language is very different from learning another language. What do you think? Okay, I see some people say yes, some people, yeah, okay, great. Okay, good. Now, you're right, yes. If you say yes, you're right. If you say no, you're right too. Because, okay, we do have, you have to think about languages, okay? We share some characteristic universally, okay? Because they share the building blocks of languages, like sounds, okay? Every language has sounds except ASL, okay? And words, okay? Sentences, meaning, uses, okay? And if you know all of this, you know when you learn a language, you know that languages share this universally. So when you learn the language, you probably need to focus on all of this, okay, when you learn about languages. And each language is also unique in the same way, okay? They have sound, they have words, they have sentences, meaning, uses, cultural aspects. So it means that when you learn the language, you have to pay attention to the sounds that you have never used before, okay, that is new to you. Focus on that, okay? And also words, how the people of that language express themselves in words. And also, what are the sentence orders, okay? every language has sentence structures, but different languages, they order the elements in the sentence a little bit different, okay? And some very different. Okay? So when you learn the language, you have to pay attention to the sounds, words, sentences, and meaning, okay? And how you use them. It's not just, oh, I memorized the vocabulary, I know how to do the grammar, I'm good at this language. No, wait until you use it, because language is to use, not just to keep for yourself, okay? And also cultural aspects, okay? The next one. Some people are talented in language, so they learn faster. I do not have talent in language learning, so I can't learn the language well, no matter how hard I try. What do you think? Do you agree? Okay, I begin to see some answers. Okay, now go to the participants and put yes or no as your answer. Good. I begin to see answers. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. I'm seeing, okay. It's good that I see, no, correct. Okay, all of you probably know this very well. Okay. When we learn, you have to imagine that there are many, there are native speakers for every language. It means that it's not hard enough for no human being to master it, okay? And even though when we say that learning a language, there's a learning curve and also there's critical period. Critical period usually is during the time before puberty. That means that during that critical period time, you learn the language just like a native speaker. But how about after you pass the critical period, can you still learn the language? Of course, okay. And I believe that you are the examples of this, right? You can learn the language in high school and you can still do an excellent job, okay. And let's do this one, okay. Language is for communication. It's different from culture. Again, give me your answer, yes or no. Go to participants. Choose yes or no. What do you think? True or false? Okay. Good. I begin to see people put in the answer. Okay. You know, this is interesting because we are not in the actual classroom. So how do I know students participate? How do I know students are still here? Sometimes when I ask questions, if you answer the question, I know you are with me. Okay. So for the rest of the semester, if you have online classes, your professor probably will test if you're attentive in this online class. Probably they will ask you questions to answer. Good, I see answers, great, okay. You can't learn the language without learning the culture. I think that's for sure. Everybody knows that, okay. Now, I want to show you that Department of Languages, we have this many languages, okay. We have ASL, Chinese, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Latin, Portuguese, Russian, and Spanish. So if you are interested in learning more languages, okay, you are welcome to choose as many languages as you like to learn, okay. There's no limit of how many languages you can learn, okay. Good. If you have, and also for the Department of Languages, we do have 3 majors: modern languages, language and international business, and language and international health. And we do have minors, okay. And nowadays, a lot of students double major, okay, because so for example, if you're biology majors, some people kind of double major in modern language, choose a language. And that's because nowadays people are aware of the need to learn another language, okay. So if you have 1 major, after today's workshop, I hope that you can think about maybe, okay, you can choose another language. And we do have study abroad programs, okay. We encourage you to do that, okay. And if you want to know more, here's the link. Go to the department website and search search Clemson Chinese, Clemson languages, okay. Now, the next part I would like to talk about when we learn a language. What are the things we can do so we can better master the language? more effectively, efficiently. Okay. The next one is language learning is cumulative. It builds. Yes, it's like adding 1 to 1 to 1 to 1, you get 4 altogether, right? So you add up, okay? And that's very important. So what does that mean? It means that what you do today will help you, will add to what you learn tomorrow, okay? So it helps you to kind of build up the language basis and the basic parts. The second part is I always encourage my students to practice every day. And that is the reason I give them homework every day, okay? Because this is the way to push them to learn. Why? Because language is to use. So without using it, without practicing it, you tend to forget, okay? So if you practice every day, it helps you to be more confident, okay? And also it helps your fluency, okay? And what kind of practice you can do? Well, you can chat with people who knows the language. You can chat with your classmates or the native speakers on campus, and you can talk about any kind of topics. Okay, talk about film, books, anything. Okay, this kind of discussion does not limit to only very high-level advanced language students. Okay, you can start from 101. Okay. There's no problem. You can use a very basic structure, very basic vocabulary to build very meaningful communication. This is very possible. And this is possible it's because you practice every day. You build up your confidence. Okay. Next one. It's very important. Okay. Well, the differences between kids learning language and adults learning language is because for adults, okay, we have psychological issues because we are afraid of losing face, right? We are afraid of making mistakes, okay? All these kind of mistakes make you feel terrible and kind of lost your confidence in that way. So people kind of hold it until you are 100% sure to present something, but don't do that. Don't be afraid to use the language, okay? And make mistakes is your privilege as a student, am I right? The more mistakes you make, okay, the more you learn from that, okay? So make mistakes and learn from them, okay? So when you open your mouth, try to say something like Spanish, French, Chinese, or other languages, okay? Or using signs, okay? Or American Sign Languages, okay? And try to make people understand you, okay? Imagine you are in a survival environment, okay? You are in Tokyo. You need to go to the bathroom. Your task is to find a bathroom, right? So use whatever you can, okay? You can use your gesture. Gesture is part of the language too, right? To help people understand, and use a very minimal language you can to communicate with the people there. So the idea is try to survive. So I would like you to kind of set your mind when you walk into the language classroom. Imagine you are trying to learn the survival skill, okay? If it is some mistake, it doesn't matter as long as you can reach the goal, okay? Next one. Always attend class. Okay. Yes, I know that sometimes you feel so tired, or sometimes you have club activities, or sometimes maybe you watch too much football yesterday and this morning you just don't feel like to attend 8 o'clock class. Okay. Sometimes you think that, well, if I skip this class, maybe I can make it up later or something like that. Well, I would say it's better not to do that, because attend the class, even though sometimes you just learn 2 sentences, you learn 10 vocabulary and words or something like that. Maybe one day it doesn't look much, okay? But as we say, that language learning is cumulative, okay? So always attend the class. When you are in the class, it gives you the atmosphere to learn the language, okay? and be active and participate. Don't be a quiet participant in a language class. Okay, always try to say something. When the professor said that, oh, who can give me the answer, or who can give me a sentence? Okay, try to think about that and activate your brain and think about something, and then raise your hand first. Okay, and then just start to talk. Okay, this is a very important policy guideline. Okay, and try not to use English in class. I know this is very hard, especially if you are in the lower level classes. Okay, and sometimes because the professor need to explain something clearly, so sometimes some English will be used in a language class. But as a student, give yourself, okay, when you walk into the language classroom, give yourself a goal for that day. Okay, minimize the use of English. Okay, so if you can use the language you are learning for the entire class, okay, you should reward yourself with a cup of coffee or cake. Okay, so a piece of cake. So I know, do not speak English is probably very hard. Okay, even for me. Okay, when I teach Chinese, sometimes it's very hard not to use English. Okay, but that's the goal. Okay, and keep up with the language early on. It's difficult to catch up later. When we say this early on, it means early on in the semester too. Okay, it's not just like see the cartoon, the clip I pick up. Okay, it says that you got to learn to talk. Jeffrey is part of the aging process. Well, anyway, you have to learn anyway to survive. Okay, but what I mean is that in the beginning of the semester, the material, sometimes the material is easier at the beginning of the semester, especially if you have learned, for example, Spanish before. And the first 2 weeks, especially the first week, very possibly that the professor probably used the first week to a quick review for you to kind of remember what Spanish sounds like or something like that. Okay, and you might want to say, oh, let's wait until next week. Wait until next week when we have more material come in. But because of this kind of mindset, okay, you are not ready for the next step. Okay, so I want you to kind of maybe starting from today. Okay, I know that tomorrow is the first day of class, so you probably will have language class starting from tomorrow or Thursday. Then think about that. Even the very first day, you have to be very serious, okay, and keep up with everything. Okay, even though the review is so easy for you, you still have to review it, practice every day, and then that will make the next step easier. Okay. I know that sometimes when you learn the language and if you don't practice early on, okay, you just target on the test day or the exam day. Okay, that's too late. Usually if you cram and then study a lot the day before the test, okay, you will forget it very easily. But if you practice every day, accumulate your experience every day, okay, it's part of you already. So it's very hard for you to forget, okay? And that's the key to do excellent in the class and also in the test or in the use of the language, okay? Talk to your instructor. Yes, who is the most proficient or fluent in that language in the classroom? Of course, that's your professor, right? So always try to talk to your professor. I know I've been a student for so many years, okay, and I know how hard when you are not very confident, okay, in yourself. Talking to your professor in the language that you are not familiar with is a big challenge, but try that, okay. Give yourself a guideline or a goal, okay. Talk to the professor at least once, okay, in the class, okay. That's very important because the professor will give you a lot of guidelines, or usually if you speak to the professor using the target language you are learning, okay, the professor will respond to you with that language too. And that's more learning, okay? You are learning your listening skill, you are learning your speaking skill, okay? So talk to your instructor. But you cannot learn based just rely on the teacher. You have to make friends in class, okay? You have to learn in the classroom too, okay? And form a study group, okay? That's because very often you have to do practice with your classmates. Sometimes you have to do pair work, you have to do group work, you have a lot of assignments that involve your classmates. Okay, so you want to open your mind, learn from them, and also if they need help, okay, you help them to learn. And this is the learning process. Okay, sometimes when we form a study group, okay, sometimes you will say that, oh, my Spanish is much better than theirs. Why do I waste my time talking to them and share my idea with them? They don't understand. They don't give me any positive feedback anyway. Okay. Well, don't think about that. Okay. Think about talking to people who you can help learning the language, also help you learn the language much more. Okay. I never know much about Chinese until I become a Chinese teacher, even though I'm a native speaker of that. Okay, because for me to explain the feature or why we do that in Chinese, how do I do that much better? Okay, I need to be aware of a lot of features that a native speaker usually do not need to know. Okay, so if you form a study group, okay, don't worry, do not care about whether you are equivalent or equally competent in the language skill. Don't worry about that. Just show yourself, help each other, and do the best you can, okay, in the study group. Okay. The next one, join language clubs. Yes, for in the department, okay, we do have each language, we do have language clubs, and sometimes we have multiple language clubs for one language. For example, some languages we do have like cultural clubs, and some are more towards professional clubs like health group or business group. Okay, and some languages also host language tables for people to join, and the professor there or the leader there will just guide everybody to practice language. Okay, so if you find that posted, okay, go there and try that. Okay, it will help you. Okay, as I said, that language is for use, not to put in your mind only. Okay, don't put it in your pocket and not never use it. Go there and use the language. Okay, and also Clemson has a lot of international students. Okay, so I think it's very possible. It's very easy for you to find someone on campus who speaks the language and start the chat. You can start a chat group. Okay, so if you have any question about that, you can talk to your instructor, because or you can talk to the global engagement office. Okay, and they probably will give you a hint who you can contact with to find the speaker of that language. Okay, that's particularly important because in the classroom we learn the language in a very structured way. Okay, and when we say in a structured way, it means that because we have to learn it step by step from the easy to intermediate to advanced. So there are a lot of situations or languages that are everywhere in online or in people's life that are not in your class material. So you probably can learn all of this with a friend who is a native speaker, because naturally they will use the language naturally to you. And that's a very good way to learn language. Okay, I know this will take extra time, but well, 3 hours in the classroom doesn't make you learn a lot of language. It's a lot of practice after that. Okay, that make you learn a lot of that. And think early about study abroad opportunity. Okay, and if you have any questions, you can contact Department of Languages, and you can talk to your advisors, your professors. Okay, if you are interested in that, they will tell you who to talk to. Okay, and this is probably one of the best way to learn the language well. Okay, and we always kind of compare this kind of learning just like learning swimming. Okay, what is the best way to learn swimming? In the water, right? Okay, so you have to put yourself in the water so that you know how to swim. Okay, the best way to learn a language is put yourself in that context. Okay, so study abroad is probably the best way to learn the language to put. But if you want to kind of make the best out of the learning, the study abroad learning experience, you should be prepared. For example, if you go to study abroad when you just start a language, that's great, but you just see the general idea of how people use the language, how people live their life in that society. But if your language skill is in the 300 level, okay, you are very different. You are a very different person because you already accumulate a lot of knowledge of that language so that you can put into practice. Okay, so every stage, okay, you can go study abroad at every stage. At the initial stage, that sets you the motivation to learn the language serious when you come home. Okay, when you are intermediate level, that's an excellent stage because you have some basic idea. Okay, but you need to see how complex people use it. Okay, and if you are in the advanced level, that will be an excellent level too to go to study abroad. Okay, in that case, you can probably fully use the language to function in that context. Okay, so every stage is a good stage to go study abroad. Okay, if you can get enough scholarship or you don't have any financial problems, going multiple study abroad experience is a plus. Okay, and use other language sources. Nowadays, I think you are better than me, right? You know how to find materials, okay, online or social media. Okay, so use the modern technology and social network to learn the language. Okay. Okay. This is a very typical office now, right? You don't just have one computer. You have multiple, maybe you have an iPad, you have phones, you have all the things, and yet nowadays people are more proficient, okay, using all this technology to learn, and be aware of different learning curves in different languages. Yes, okay. So for example, learning Chinese, and as I know that like Russian, okay, and some languages like that, okay, the learning curve is very steep at the beginning. Okay, it sounds so hard. Okay, and learning Spanish for English speakers, it's probably a little easier in a sense, right? So the curve at the beginning is kind of very flat. It's not very difficult, but at the end, you will see that sometimes if you look at the first one, okay, the curve is very steep at the beginning, but then it becomes flattened. Okay, so that's possible, and that's what I heard from my students. Okay, at first when they learn Chinese, it's so hard. You have to take care of the character writing, you have to take care of the tones, you have to take care of the sentence structure. It's too much at the beginning. Okay, but don't be afraid of that. That's a natural curve. Okay, but when my students get to intermediate level, it's easier for them. At advanced level, it's easier for them because now they get through all this difficult stage. So when they kind of begin to be confident in that, they feel, wow, there are so many features they can use in learning Chinese that make learning easier. Okay, and sometimes I hear Spanish professors complain about higher level students still not knowing about the conjugation and things like that. And that's because at the beginning, students have kind of flat learning curve at the beginning, okay, and they probably not pay too much attention to some details. Then all these details will come back in the advanced level too. Then you have to relearn it again. Okay, so it's all different. You have to find the best way yourself. Everybody use different strategy. Okay, you have to find yourself. Okay, and talk to your professor. Okay, any questions? Okay. Turn on the microphone so that we can hear you. Any questions about that? Okay. That's fine. Okay. This is your first day, not even the first day of class, right? Okay. So I'm very happy that you you don't have any questions, but why not learn some Chinese? How about that? Okay. Now, I need you to turn on your microphone. Thank you. I need you to turn on microphone. Okay. Now, let's say, how many of you speak Chinese? No one, right? Okay, good. At least today, okay, before I let you go, I guarantee you can say 3 things. Okay, the first one is, how are you? Okay, 你好. You want to repeat after me? 你好.
你好.
Excellent. Okay, now pay attention to the note, the mark here. This is a tone. Chinese is a tone language. It means that the pitch change is very important. So when I say ni, you have to keep that ni instead of ni. No, it means different things. You have to stay the tone, okay? Stay with the tone to make sense. Okay, one more time. How are you? 你好.
你好.
你好. Very good. Excellent. Okay, the next one. Okay. Very often we say thank you, right? Okay. X here means so 谢谢. 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 I hope at the end of this workshop I can hear you say 谢谢 to me. Okay, it means thank you. Okay, 谢谢.
谢谢.
Yes, good. I hear that. Very good. Okay. You have a potential of learning Chinese because of the tone control. Okay, it's not easy. Okay. Okay, now, well, this is the end of the workshop. Okay, so when we say goodbye, we say 再见. 再见.
再见.
再见. Very good. Now let's have a quick review. Okay, 你好.
你好.
你好. Tone is very important. So the pitch, just like singing the song. If you sing the different pitch, it's a different way, different song, right? 你好.
你好.
Good. 你好, 你好. Okay. So when people say 你好 to you, just reply with 你好. Okay. So 你好.
你好.
Good. Yes. And then 谢谢. 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 Good. 谢谢. And 再见. Okay.
再见.
再见. Okay. Now I need you to remember how to say thank you because I want to hear that before I let you exit. Okay, the room. Okay, it's 谢谢. Okay, 谢谢. Okay. Do you have any question